Hi children, I am very happy to meet you again in this video session. Already in previous video session we have learned the existence and administration of new dynasties in history lesson 2. The name of the lesson is New Kings and Kingdoms. In ancient period, our Tamil Nadu was ruled by three famous dynasties. They were Chera, Chola and Pandya. Now, in this video session, we are going to learn about the Chola dynasty. First, we must know how did the Cholas rise to power. A minor chief family known as Muttarayar family held power in the Kaveri Delta region. They acted as the subordinate to the Pallava kings of Kanjipuram. Vijayalaya, one of the Cholas from Urayur, captured the Kaveri Delta, which was under the control of Muttarayar family. We know that they acted as the subordinate to the Pallava kings of Kanjipuram. Vijayalaya captured the Kaveri Delta region, which was under the control of Muttarayar family in the middle of 9th century. Here the first picture is the image of Vijayalaya, the Chola king, and the image of second picture is a king from Muttarayar family. Vijayalaya defeated the Pallavas and took over the Tanjore kingdom and led to the establishment of the mighty Chola kingdom. This picture represents the flag of the Chola empire. What is seen in this flag, children? Jumping tiger. Vijayalaya built the town of Tanjavur and also a temple for goddess Nizumba Sudani in Tanjavur. This is the image of Nizumba Sudani temple built by the Chola king Vijayalaya. Tanjore was hence made the first capital of the eminent Chola empire. Aditya I succeeded Vijayalaya to become the ruler of the empire. After Aditya I, so many rulers ruled the Chola dynasty. But under the period of Rajaraja Chola I, the Chola empire reached its zenith. The original name of Rajaraja Chola I was Arulmozhi Varman. He was often described as Rajaraja the Great because he was chiefly remembered for reinstating the Chola power and ensuring its supremacy in South India. Rajaraja also got the title Mummudi Cholan after the conquest of three southern kingdoms of Cheras, Pandyas and Ceylon. Rajaraja Chola I was considered as the most powerful Chola king as the empire got extended during his rule. During his rule from 985 to 1014 CE, the Chola kingdom expanded to include Tamil Nadu, Sri Lanka, Maldives and parts of East Asia. Children, see your India map. The places which are colored in orange represent the supremacy of Chola empire. Rajaraja Chola I was a great king from South India who never lost a battle in his entire life. He was a great patron of literature and art. Rajaraja Chola was not only a patron of art and literature but also he gave importance to architecture. Yes, Rajaraja, an able administrator, built the great Pragadishwara temple at the Chola capital Tanjavur. The temple is regarded as the foremost of all temples in the medieval South Indian architectural style. Prahadishwara temple is dedicated to Lord Shiva, and this is one of the largest temples in the country. This temple is 1010 years old and the temple tower is 216 feet high, making it the tallest in the world. The speciality of this temple is the shadow of the tower falls on itself in noon. Why does the Tanjore temple shadow not fall on the ground at noon, children? Do you know the reason? This happens because the base of the Vimana is bigger than its pinnacle. Hence at noon, the shadow of the temple tower gets merged on itself and not on the ground. Here I shall give the meaning for two words, Vimana and pinnacle. The meaning for the word Vimana is a pyramid-shaped tower built over the central shrine of a temple. The meaning for the word pinnacle is the highest peak of a tower. Chola temples. We know that Chola kings gave more importance in constructing temples. These Chola temples often became the nuclei of settlements which grew around them. Chola temples also became the centers of craft production. See children, the specialists who worked at the temple often started to live near the temple, such as priests, garland makers, cooks, sweepers, musicians, dancers, and so on. They started to live nearby the temple. In other words, temples were not only places of worship, they were the hub of economic, social, and cultural life as well. Among all the crafts associated with temples, the making of bronze images was the most distinctive. Chola bronze images are considered the finest in the world. Most images were of deities. Rajaraja died in the year 1014 CE and he was succeeded by his son Rajendra Chola. See, this is the image of Rajendra Chola. Rajendra Chola, the heir and son of Rajaraja Chola I, took over the kingdom after his father's death, and he was an able ruler like his father Rajaraja Chola I. His greatest achievement included the conquest of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Rajendra Chola later attacked the Western Chalukyas and their allies. He conquered lands right up to the banks of the river Ganga. From the holy river, he collected the sacred water in golden pots and poured into a tank, and he called the tank as Chola Ganga. He then adopted the title of Gangaikonda, which means victor of the Ganga. Rajendra Chola assumed the title of Gangaikonda Chola because he conquered the kingdoms near Ganga and built a new capital city called Gangaikonda Cholapuram. Now let us learn about the next subtopic in this lesson, that is agriculture and irrigation. Many of the achievements of the Cholas were made possible through new developments in agriculture. The river Kaveri branches off into several small channels before emptying into the Bay of Bengal. These channels overflow frequently, depositing fertile soil on their banks. By the 5th and 6th century, large-scale cultivation started in the Kaveri Valley. Forests were cleared and leveled for creating more cultivable land. In the delta region, embankments were built to prevent flooding and canals were constructed to carry water to the fields. See the first picture, children. Embankments were constructed. What do you mean by the word embankment, children? Embankment means wall built to prevent a river flooding an area. The second picture represents the canal which were constructed to carry water to the fields. Agriculture and irrigation received good support from the Chola kings. Large number of wells were dug and tanks were constructed to assist or help the farmers. Stone dams were put up across rivers like Kaveri to use water for agriculture. Artificial lakes were also common, which were fed by water from the rivers. See children, this is the image of well and tank constructed during the Chola period. In the same way, stone dam and artificial lake were also constructed by the Chola kings. Here is an example to prove how Cholas gave importance to irrigation system. This is the Kallanai Dam which was built by Karihala Cholan. This dam acts as India's first dam and it also got the name Grand Anaikat. See children, the dam constructed by Karihala Cholan. It was constructed before 2000 years in 200 BC. Still, it is standing stubbornly against the time and nature. Now, we have come to the last subtopic, administration under Chola rule. The administration was headed by the king. The Chola kingship was hereditary in nature. As per the Chola royal family tradition, the eldest son succeeded the king to the Chola throne. The Chola Empire was divided into three major administrative units called central government, provincial government and local government. The most important feature of the Chola administration was the local administration at district, towns and villages. Village autonomy was the most unique feature of Chola administrative system. Now let us concentrate on the topic village administration. The village assembly was known as Ur or Sabha. The members of the village assembly were elected by Kudavolai system. Committees called Variums were formed to look after specific units such as law and order, agriculture and irrigation. The Nagaram was an assembly found in towns and cities. The members of each division are explained here. Ur was a village assembly in which landowners were not Brahmins. Sabha was a village assembly where all the landowners were Brahmins. They functioned through sub-committees which looked after roads, building markets, temples, and so on. Nagaram was an organization of merchants. The members of these assemblies were elected through Kudavolai system. Why it is named as Kudavolai system? The name of the contestant were written in volai, that is in palm leaf, and it was dropped into a pot, that is kudam. So it came to be called as Kudavolai system. Uttaramerur inscriptions talk about Kudavolai system. The system was a very notable and unique feature of the village administration of the Cholas. There were totally 30 wards in each village. A representative for each ward was elected through Kudavolai system. Names of the contestants from whom one could be chosen were written on palm leaf tickets. These palm leaves were put into a pot and shuffled. A small boy was asked to come and pick up palm leaves one by one from the pot. Persons whose name tickets were picked up by the boy were declared as members of the assembly. Like that, 30 members for 30 wards were elected. This kind of peculiar election system was called as Kudavolai system. See children, the name of the contestants were written in a palm leaf and dropped into a pot, that is kudam. And a small boy was asked to come and pick up the name tickets one by one from the pot. So it came to be called as Kudavolai system. Now we have come to the end of this lesson, children. After the first defeat of Cholas, the Chola dynasty faced a continuous decline till the year 1279, which marked the end of Chola dynasty. The last king of the dynasty was Rajendra Chola III, and he was defeated by Pandya king Maravarman Kulasekara Pandyan. Now this is the time to give assignment for you children. Prepare on your own objective type of questions for this lesson. Thank you children.